Well, here at Trinity, if you are new, before our sermon, we have what's called a Worldview segment. We believe that Trinity Church is a spiritual intersection where moral, cultural, social, political issues collide with biblical truth. And we base this moment out of 1 Chronicles 12:32, where it says the sons of Issachar in the Old Testament, they understood the times in which they lived and they knew what they should do. So as Christ followers today, we need to understand the times in which we live so that we might know what we should do. So we want you to be informed to pray so that you are empowered to act. And I want to talk briefly about the crisis of meaning. What is the crisis of meaning? Actually, it's an existential crisis, as it is called in some circles of society. It's characterized by an internal conflict, an impression and a feeling that people are living with today, where there is this lack of meaning, a confusion about one's identity. Who am I? Why am I here? And to think that today we live in the absolute most advanced civilization of all time. In fields of technology, science, medicine, we are so far advanced than any other civilization. Even in the area of entertainment. When you consider artificial intelligence, virtual reality, what is present now for people to be distracted and be amused and entertained, and then what's on the horizon, it's absolutely mind-boggling. We're living in a time and an age where there are more comforts, more pleasures, more access to greater wealth than ever before, and yet we have some of the most unhappy people that have ever existed. Research now is linking 21st century life to a significant spike in mental illness. Not all mental illness is the result of this, but a large portion, especially in young people, they're finding in the research this clear common denominator. And what's being discovered is an excessive self-focus, a loss of an external objective view of life, and turning more inwards, adopting an internally subjective view of life is the culprit. Basically, placing ourselves at the center of our own universe leads to a crisis of meaning. And an abundance of self-focus rather than being other-focused is one contributing factor. So we're spiritual beings. We have spiritual needs. When those spiritual needs are suppressed, when those spiritual needs are not addressed and they are ignored, symptoms will surface. Physical symptoms, emotional symptoms, and mental symptoms. So the crisis of meaning is due to a vacuum that's been created by two culprits, hedonism and nihilism. Nihilism, these two worldviews, hedonism is basically the pursuit of pleasure or overstimulation. We are an overstimulated society that involves sensual self-indulgence. Nihilism is the rejection of religious morals and principles, the denial of the existence of God. These two things, hedonism and nihilism, is aiding and abetting this crisis of meaning, this existential crisis that we find ourselves as a culture experiencing. If I can quote one of the greatest psychiatrists of all time who survived the Nazi death camps, his name is Dr. Viktor Frankl. In his now famous book, Man's Search for Meaning, he said this: such widespread phenomena as depression, aggression, and addiction are not understandable unless we recognize the existential vacuum underlining them, or the crisis of meaning. You see, friend, all of us have a God-shaped void in our heart, a God-shaped void in our heart that only Jesus Christ can fill. Nothing in this world will ever fulfill and satisfy your life outside of a personal, committed relationship with the one true living God through His Son, Jesus Christ. He is the source of all joy and all life and gives us the true purpose and meaning for living.